Roughly 66 million years ago, our planet went through one of the most large-scale extinction events in the history of multicellular life forms. Entire classes of species were wiped off the face of the Earth. Others changed beyond all recognition in order to adapt to the new conditions and survive. The reasons for this dramatic event are still not known for certain. Still, there is no doubt that the Cretaceous-Paleogene extinction made great changes to what our planet looked like. The majestic and horrifying dinosaurs were superseded by creatures not less impressive: mammals. Three-fourths of all living organisms on Earth died out in the Cretaceous-Paleogene extinction. Almost all creatures heavier than 25 kilos ceased to be, including practically all non-avian dinosaurs. This tragic event heralded the end of the Mesozoic and the beginning of the Cenozoic, the geologic era that is still not over. It is divided into 3 periods of various duration, which are different both in terms of climate and diversity of the biosphere. The first and longest is known as the Paleogene. It began around 66 million years ago and continued for 43 million years. In the first 10 million years of the Paleogene, the Earth's biosphere was recovering from the hard blow dealt by the mass extinction. This geological epoch is referred to as the Paleocene. Since great numbers of dinosaurs and other species of the Cretaceous had perished, there were lots of vacant ecological niches for the taking. These were promptly filled by the new masters of our planet: mammals. The geography of the Earth of that period was drastically different from what we're used to seeing today. Looking at a map of that prehistoric Earth, we would already be able to make out the familiar continents, but they were positioned slightly differently. Thus, North and South Americas were separated by tropical seas, while the Indian subcontinent was just starting to make for the Asian shores. The prehistoric ocean, known as the Tethys, still lay between Africa and Eurasia, but was already largely giving way due to the movements of tectonic plates. The climate of the epoch was warmer and more stable than today's. Most of the planet was covered with dense and lush tropical forests. The overwhelming majority of the living creatures of the day were quite small. Thanks to the abundance of vegetable food, they quickly propagated and spread across more and more new areas. This is when the prehistoric ancestors of most of today's mammals thrived. For example, the warm forests of the Paleogene were inhabited by miacids, small and deft predators that looked like martens. It is believed that they were the progenitors of all today's rich diversity of mammal predators. At around the same time, there lived archaeocetes, the prehistoric ancestors of today's whales. At the time, however, they looked more like hippos. They hadn't gone to live in the sea yet, but had made their first steps in that direction. Their limbs, respiratory organs and the inner ear had already started to adapt to prolonged stays underwater. The next epoch our planet went through was remarkably high speeds, so chances of outrunning such a monster were quite thin. A wild boar the size of a large bull that prefers meat posed a serious threat to any inhabitant of the Earth of that time. That is why it is hardly surprising that entelodons successfully struggled for their survival for such a considerable time. The period in the history of our Earth that came next was the Neogene. It began approximately 23 million years ago and ended just 2,580,000 years ago. This is when our planet started to look almost, but not quite, what it looks like today. The continents shifted to their today's positions on the planet's surface, and the looks of the most of the plants and animals of the day grew to be familiar to our eye. With the Earth's climate gradually becoming colder and with droughts occurring more often, human tribes came to South America. The powerful but sluggish giant was helpless under a barrage of sharp spears and arrows, and very soon its population dropped to zero. Other giants who supposedly became extinct because of humans were diprotodons, which inhabited Australia in the period from 1.6 million years ago to around 40,000 years ago. These creatures were the largest known marsupials, and they were related to wombats and koalas. Some of these amazing animals reached as much as 3 meters in length and 2 meters in shoulder height. As for their mass, they weighed approximately 3 tons. This makes diprotodons quite as big as some hippos. Massive and herbivorous, they dwelt on massive woodland and coastal grass-covered plains that abounded in Australia before Have a chat with your friends about this if you feel strongly about the issues raised here, and give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. As you know, it takes us a lot of time and effort to make every video interesting and informative. And your support means the world to us. Let's keep in touch.
Ang 10 planetang nasa aking listahan ay ang mga planetang kahawig ng ating Earth. Ang pagkakatulad nila ay ang tamang lugar o ang Goldilocks zone. Hindi mainit, hindi rin malamig, tama lang upang makasuporta ng